Sell everything now and live your best life because these grown-ass kids ain't gonna keep it up anyways. Miss Sis, the most humble woman in our town, decided to sell everything and live her best life, leaving her grown-ass son Jerry to fend for himself. This is the story of how she came to that decision. Miss Sis, whose real name was Willie Mae Walker Townsend, worked her whole life so her kids could have a place to live when she passed on. She was a faithful churchgoer, even when she wasn't feeling her best. She worked at the local mental health facility, taking care of folks with mental issues. I almost ended up there myself, but I got my act together just in time. This story, however, isn't about me. Miss Sis had a son named Jerry. He was a good-looking kid and knew it. His mother treated him like a prince on a single salary. His father was killed in Vietnam, and she never remarried. Jerry did no chores around the house. His uncle tried to teach him how to fix things around the house, but Jerry always had an excuse. By the time he was 20, he had 2 baby mamas and no job. He barely graduated from high school, and Miss Sis continued to pray that her son would change. Years passed, and Jerry didn't have any more kids. Rumor had it that his mom paid for the snip-snip. He worked at Walmart and lived off the women he charmed, but age and time didn't serve him well. Jerry's lazy existence continued, living at home and paying 2 child support payments off a Walmart salary. His belly grew to the point that he could barely see his feet. Miss Sis decided to retire at 67 years old to get her full benefits, widow pay, and mortgage paid. Now that she was home all day, she realized that her son, now 45, was not prepared to be responsible for taking over the family home. She was panicky and pissed at herself. How could she be so blind as to dedicate her good years to a job and not to her son? Well, that was all water under the bridge. Jerry's kids were over 25, and his little Walmart money was all his now. One day, Miss Sis read an article online titled, "Don't leave shit to your grown-ass kids if they have these 5 out of 10 issues." The list included things like still living at home without paying bills, having no goals, living an unhealthy life, and more. Miss Sis realized her son had 8 out of 10 issues. She decided it was time to sell the house and enjoy her life. Miss Sis started boxing up things to put in storage for her new senior apartment and things to give to charity. Meanwhile, Jerry was at work at Walmart, clueless. When he arrived home, his mom handed him 5 boxes and told him to pack up. He had 3 months to find a place to live because she was selling the house and traveling the world. Jerry was shocked. "But Mom, you said you were going to leave me the house one day." Miss Sis replied, "If you can answer 5 questions, I'll leave you the house. How much are the taxes? What day is trash day? When is the electric bill due? When was the last time you cut the grass? How much is the house insurance? Have you ever asked me about how much it costs to maintain the house? Have you ever told me how much you enjoyed living in this home and thanked me?" Jerry couldn't answer any of the questions. Miss Sis told him, "You'll be okay, son." Miss Sis is now 95 years old and still active. She no longer wastes her time in church, but volunteers in women's shelters. She has the best stories about her travels and tells everyone to avoid the mistakes she made with her son. Teach your kids responsibility and prepare them for a future without you. If you've done all that and they still don't pass the test, sell everything and enjoy your life because it goes by quickly. Jerry is okay now. He retired and lives with one of his sons, babysitting his 10-year-old twin granddaughters after school. They built him a father-in-law quarter in the backyard. Jerry did one thing right in his life. He supported his boys while growing up. But what about your kids? You ask me how I know so much about Miss Sis and Jerry. Well, Miss Sis took me in after my mom and dad died in an accident when I was 15 years old. My mom was Miss Sis's best friend and my godmother. She raised me like her own flesh and blood. Moral of the story: sometimes, tough love is the only way to wake people up. If your grown kids aren't stepping up, it's time to stop enabling them. Sell everything, live your best life, and let them learn to fend for themselves. You can't sacrifice your happiness for their irresponsibility. Life's too short to be weighed down by someone else's failures. Teach them responsibility, and if they don't get it, move on and enjoy the life you've earned.
I hope you've enjoyed our story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.